Brotherhood of the Bengal. Brotherhood of the Bengal. In the river fog we gather, striped and bound by autumn air. Hands up.
Welcome, brothers, to the Brotherhood of the Bengal, episode 2. We're going to recap the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about Bengals' needs, and they are aplenty. What wins the Super Bowl in 2026? Talk about Trey. He never goes away. To Trey or not to Trey? That is the question. Of course, we're going to talk about free agency, important NFL dates. The New Year's coming, friends. The Combine is coming, friends. It's all escalating, and we're back to talk about it all. Steve is back from his cruise. He's not tan, though. I thought he would be. I'm here. Welcome to the Brotherhood of the Bengal, episode due. How's it going, Stevie boy?
Going good, my man. Had a really good vacation. Recommend a team buy if you haven't done it. If you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just had a great time. Really did. How was your week? Starting to warm up a little bit.
It is warmed up. The ice is melting here in beautiful Ohio, but amazingly enough, it's not completely melted. Despite warm weather, we had a 60-some degree day while you were gone. So I was out in T-shirt and shorts.
Me too.
Still didn't melt. Yeah, I bet you were. Good for you, buddy. You feel re-energized? You ready to go?
I probably will Monday. Vacation is anyone that's been on vacations. They're fun, but they're also a little stressful. You know, especially on a cruise. You've got you get your itinerary and you pick what you want to do and stuff. And there's time you do this. You got to make sure you leave time to get there, time to sit down, and I mean, there's a little bit to that too. And then there's some days you just want to be like, you know what, I don't want to worry about time. I don't want to. Kind of did that yesterday where we just a lot of walking. It's a big boat. Utopia to Sea is what we was on. It's the second largest in the world. So it's brand new. I think last year.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it opened last year. It's something else. It's unreal how big it is. Unreal.
You feel closer to your wife after the cruise?
We had a good time.
Great.
We really did. It was fun. Like I said,
bonding.
I recommend a team body.
It's a good bonding experience. Faux show. Had a couple days off just putzing around here myself. Kind of, a lot of people say, hey, now you sit back and relax. Super Bowl's over, season's over. But really, there's no time for relaxing.
There is not.
We will relax in May, post-draft. But really, you got free agency upcoming. You got the draft upcoming, signing your own guys. The franchise tag thing starts next week. We'll talk about that shortly. So there's a lot to talk about. And, NFL teams are far from relaxing right now. They're as busy now as they are during the season, right? Yeah. Not the coaches, but the scouting. This is busy time. This is what makes or breaks the 2026 seasons over the next, couple months, right? Where we got here? You got about 2.5 months is what's going to make or break your season for the most part outside of injuries, right? Then your mini camps, and then, we'll be there for training camp in July. It's hard to believe. Happens quick. We're going to focus primarily on the Bengals today. Hopefully it sounds better. We apologize. Our first episode. So ironically, to be perfectly frank, that's not my name. Perfectly frank, like when we're outside, other than those crazy windy days, we've had better experience, and other than tailgate, right? But it's been better sound out there at BTD, formerly known as BTD Studios, and it hasn't here. And it's really not our location. I think we just had some technical difficulties here that have crept up on us. I think hopefully we've got it figured out. I believe so. We'll see.
I think the biggest thing, and I've said this before, just to let people understand, almost all podcasts do this remotely, right? You're in a room, you got your door shut, your acoustics
Studio
are good,
quality.
right? We've got 2 mics within 3.5, 4 feet of each other, and we're trying to get our sound just right, and we're hanging out doing this together, which almost all podcasts don't do
Yeah,
this.
that's true. And
So it makes it so difficult to where there's not echo and all that kind of stuff. So,
and has to spend time with you makes it more difficult, right?
oh, for sure. I mean, yeah.
You didn't even
Ditto.
I wasn't going to cuss, but because we're the Brotherhood of the big one, I didn't even bring any beer, dude. I asked you to bring beer.
I asked you, I said, do you still want me to bring beer? I had to leave 15 minutes later, and you never messaged. So
I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
You sure that went through?
I do want a beer, though.
There's stuff over there. There's Christmas sale. It's all Christmassy types. There's those Mexican beers you like. You can go get them. It's gonna be hard to get the opener. I don't know where that's at. I think it's over there somewhere.
Yeah, that's all right, Dan.
All right, we gotta go do it. All right. Super Bowl recap. We're gonna start by that. A crazy game. So, my overarching view of it, like Drake May looked really bad. I kind of think that shoulder was still bothering him. They didn't say it, but regardless. So, the point I want to make, the overarching point, is the NFL. They can say what they want. But for multiple seasons, not just the last two, for years now, they want the Mahomes, the Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, those guys to succeed. So you can't hit the quarterback. You can't reroute receivers. You can't do all that. Yet, NFL defenses figured it out. I've said that my whole life. Defenses will figure it out. This last iteration of the NFL trying to make it an offensive league, I didn't think defenses would figure it out because I thought they were so handcuffed. So what's changed? You look at the Super Bowl last year, Eagles and Chiefs, they allowed Philadelphia throughout that playoff run to play defense. They allowed Houston to play defense. They allowed New England to play defense, and they certainly allowed Seattle to play defense. So what happens to the quote-unquote playmaking quarterbacks in these games? They don't win, dude. And I'm saying this, I said it during the game, and I'm not knocking Drake May. I think he's going to be a very good player. But throughout that game, I said if 12 is back there in his prime, Brady, 12, he's dinking and dunking the hell out of that defense, and they've got 20-some points right now. Same, everything the same. Because the way they're blitzing, he would have read it, ball out. He would have changed the protection, ball out. May's trying to be a playmaker like Mahomes was last year. Those defenses are eating that up right now, man. So you think about it as a GM, you think about it in Baltimore where you're going to sign Lamar Jackson to a lot of money. The NFL's cyclical. Everybody's going to copycat that, right, for sure. But right now, those mobile run-around quarterbacks, Allen's still successful. The rest of them aren't because defenses are making them dink and dunk and make them read. They're changed. They're very complicated schematic, like McDonald's especially. I think Brady would have put up points, though. I know he would with that offense. So it's amazing. The NFL has always went through those iterations, and I'll throw something in and get your thoughts on it. Copycat league, except one team never copycats anybody. Your Cincinnati Bengals, our Cincinnati Bengals. They never copycat, and that's not a compliment. It's weird. They just stick to what they are, but I think it's going to work to their advantage this time. But your thoughts on the Super Bowl? I was kind of rooting for New England, but I don't mind Seattle. I kind of like that old school football they play, and Kenneth Walker. He's going to hit he won't be there next year. I'd almost guarantee it. That dude's a beast. Your thoughts?
It was a really good first half. I enjoyed the defensive struggle. I agree with you 100%. I'm going to throw something else out there too. So in baseball, if a pitcher has a reputation of being around the strike zone, okay, and they come into a game and they're borderline, guess who's getting the call?
Maddox, right? Whew.
Right. So I think it's the same thing in football. These refs, if you come into a game and there's a certain persona around that defense or offense, right?
Yep.
I
Absolutely
think
true.
they let them play because Seattle is a good defense. New England's a good defense. So they let them be more physical. If you come in as a finesse defense and you're beating and banging around and holding and scrapping, you're more likely to get those holding calls and pass interference calls or whatever. I truly 100%. I mean, look, we're human. These refs are human.
Yep.
So they're going out there and they pretty much let them play. And that's the way it should be.
That's football.
For this day and age, right? I mean, that's about as the way Seattle and New England and Philly
last year.
and those guys play defense is about as physical as the NFL will let it be this in this era of football. So, which is okay for me if you let everyone do it. But that is not how the league. That's not how the league does it. That's not how the refs do it. as far as May goes, I thought he played pretty good in the first half. He put in, of course. I mean, the interceptions were what they were, right? I mean, bad reads. He wasn't getting the ball out, but those were also McDaniel's got to do a better job of seeing what's going on and not making May make those decisions, right? Not making him have to check, not making him make those reads. Do more things to where this is what the play is. There's going to be a lot of stuff underneath. You're going to have running backs, this and that. He made a few good throws of the running backs where he led the guy.
Yeah, I thought he was getting it going.
You know what I mean? I thought he was going to, and then he'd make a mistake. He used his feet a couple times. He's going to be a good quarterback. I thought McDaniel could have did a better job of game planning, especially you knew what you were coming into. Everything to me should have been 1, 2, 3 out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. Yeah. Like none of these 5 and 7 steps, 15 yards. And there was a bunch of where he was just holding on to the ball, and I would just be like, you know what, 1, 2, if it ain't there, take off. And if not, I mean, I guess it is what it is. Don't make the mistake.
Yep.
Burrow says it all the time. Sometimes the sack's okay.
Yep.
You know, so I think that's what should have been done. It wasn't, and I think you see, how the game turned out. You know why.
I've heard other people say this, not about him, but other players. Like, you can't turn that guy into something he's not. And I think what you're asking McDaniels to do is just that. I just don't think May can do it, and maybe he will.
I think he will, but man,
he just can't do those check down. He's just not gonna. He's a game. He's not a game manager. He's a playmaker. That's what I'm looking for.
He reminds me a lot of Allen early in his career.
Yeah,
he really
thinks
does.
He's a playmaker, and he is. And you don't want to untrain that out of him, because then you give up all the big plays. But you got to tone him down, right?
Yeah, it's like Burrow getting hurt, right? Like you can't. I mean, don't stop him from doing what he does. If it's just going to happen. I mean, that's part of why he makes the money he makes, is because how good he is in the pocket, how good he is out of the pocket. The same way with Lamar and Josh. These guys, they are who they are.
But in those big games, you're not playing the New York Jets. You're not playing the Miami Dolphins. You're not playing all those teams.
I said it early on.
You got to fine-tune that.
That schedule was really, and it showed up. It showed up in the Super Bowl.
And, Allen every year in the playoffs, right? You look at it, you can't say he's not playing well, because he puts up magnificent numbers and all that. But what really costs him the game is him trying to make big plays, right? If he just takes what's there, and, by and large, Mahomes is the exception. I still say it's the rules that got him there, right? I say that with an eye. I mean, he's a hell of a player. I'm not saying he's not. But the rules got him there, right? It got him there. That's how he wins in the playoffs. Now you're playing this style of football, it's not going to be. Whether it's Montana, Brady, and all the great ones, a lot of their better plays are those slants right on the money at 5 yards, quick. It's not the running around in circles, right? Fran Tarken's a hell of a quarterback. Lost 4 Super Bowls. Elway lost 3 of them until he got Terrell Davis and toned everything down. He couldn't run then, right? His knees are all fucked up. Like, so you look at it, that's why it's more disappointing that Burrow doesn't have more, because he is in that mold, right? I saw that Doug Kleiman or whatever that idiot is on X. I don't follow that idiot. I made a vow to myself to quit using the word idiot, so that'll be it for now, hopefully. But he's the most overrated quarterback ever, Joe Burrow, right? It's not. The question is not, can Joe play? Like what all we just talked about is, can he stay healthy, right? He's not overrated. His numbers are up there, with the best of them there. So, and
he's missed a full season. Yeah, I mean, if you add up all the games, it's over a season he's missed.
And that is a big time issue, right? But it's so you look at that. Darnold, he did just enough, and some of the throws, the big interception, we'll put it to rest here, to Love. He was getting crowded on his knees, so he couldn't step in. The read was right. The play was right. He just didn't get enough on it. Right? He didn't mean to throw it there. But it comes back to my point about Will Campbell last year, if we go back to the draft and you can listen to it. And I debated it friendly with some Patriot fans I know. I just didn't think he had long enough arms to play tackle in the NFL. And, it seems like nitpicking, because we're going to get to a guy that I do like on the opposite side of that here later. But you can see, like, he can't brace himself. He can't anchor himself, right? Because he's not making the first contact. It's tough in the NFL. You can do that in college, but, man, you're facing in Seattle what's tough from a strategic standpoint to take them out of the game. It's not Myles Garrett, right? They just got a bunch of good guys, not the one star like Chris Jones and Aaron Donald. You take them out, the rest of those defense, you can make plays. That's not the case of the Seattle team. They're just well coached. They hide everything, and it's tough. So, congratulations to them. I don't think you could have made some big time money if you bet on that team in the preseason, right? With Darnold coming there, I never envisioned they'd be this good at all. So, all right, there's the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the Bengals needs real quick. We're going to go over some things and talk about some free agency here a little bit, but we'll just walk through each position real quick and get our thoughts. We'll rotate if you want to, Stevie Boy. But quarterback, I would take Flacco as the backup. I would not sign Jake. I'd send him packing. He can be an arm in training camp, right? But that's it. He could be what some of the other guys that they cut every year is. But I would take Flacco for sure. And there's going to be some guys on the market out there that are probably worth signing as a free agent. But you got to be realistic here with Burrow's injuries. You can't go into it with just some rookie guy. You got to get a guy like Flacco or somebody like that to be the backup. And I would still take a developmental guy in the draft later and go from there. Your thoughts on the QB backup position in 26?
Yeah, I think Flacco is a guy. The problem is I don't think he wants to be in training camp. I think, honestly, in my opinion, the only team I think he would go to training camp with is Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. I don't. If he gets signed with anyone else, I think he's gonna sit on the couch until he gets signed. Mm-hmm. The problem is how much money is it going to cost to get him? You know what I mean, do you really want to pay a backup quarterback $5 or $6 million? And that's what it might cost. I just don't want to do that, but. With the way Joe is, man, and I mean, even if it's 3, 4, 5 games, which here's the problem: has Joe's injuries ever been just 3, 4, 5 games? It has not. If he can play through it, he plays through it.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be one of them guys that's going to sit out a game or two. He's just not. Whether he lies to train staff or what he did, I mean, usually it's catastrophic, right? He's out half the season or a full season, so. I don't even know if that matters when we say, well, he can get us through, 2, 3, 4 games. Well, that's not how Joe gets hurt. He gets hurt so bad he's out for the year. So, not saying it wouldn't, but I mean, he had the hamstring, the 1 year, that kind of hampered him. But guess what? He played through it, and I mean, they lost a couple, but I mean, it is what it is. But
calf strain, right? Calf strain,
yeah, it was calf. Sorry,
yeah. And you look at it like right now, you look at some of the guys out there that are what they're making. Like Garoppolo's at 3. Flacco last year was at 4.2, so you probably bring him back at 5 or something like that. Like you said, Trubisky would be a good sign. He was at 2.6. So if you could get him, oh my, that's a guy who can win with this team, Trubisky. But I don't know where I don't think he'll get a starting job now, and he may look back to Buffalo there, but. Yeah, I think they need to do something. And then Milo's in there scratching the hell out of his crate. The dog, I don't know why he does that. It's so weird, their instincts. But running back wise, P. Ryan, we'll just look at the offense mostly today. We'll just go quickly. P. Ryan's going to be back. Offensive line. You look at them, they need some depth, I think, still on offensive line. They're going to do some of that in the draft. You can only do so much in the draft, but I think you got to bring in some veteran tackles, right? Later, mid-level guys. Just kind of like you look at, like, again, the Patriots, whether we think they were that good a team to the schedule or not, how they did free agency is how you want to do it, right? Bring in a bunch of veterans, bring in guys to fill in. I think starter-wise on the offensive line, what's your thoughts if they bring back Dalton Risner? I think they're fine starter-wise. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I do too. I think, P. Ryan, I can't see him going into a place because he just fits this offense so well. He's already tried that. So I think whatever they offer him, he'll probably take. It's probably another 1 year deal. Probably. I wouldn't think they go multi-years on him. If they did, it'd be like a void year or something like that to help with the cap. I hope they do more of that this year. You know what I mean? Like structure some things better. Change that up a little bit so they can get these guys there. Because I think. So as far as the offensive line, this Cody Ford thing is going to be interesting. Because it all depends on how they see Cody. He is not a swing tackle.
No,
but
he's a guard.
For some reason, in their mind, he is, and I think he's fine at guard. He's fine at guard. I don't think they'll bring Patrick back. So if they sign Ford, they have to get a swing tackle, dude. Somebody that can play both positions. That's a veteran. You need to draft one. Also, I think they're pretty good in the interior. But yeah, and honestly, it wouldn't bother me if they drafted a smaller slot guy, somebody that can move around a little bit. You know, we thought they had a few guys on the roster that was going to be able to do that, and it hadn't happened. I think they picked up what was it? The Williams kid late in the year from Pittsburgh. Was it Williams? Can you look that up real quick? He started returning kicks. Shifty guy. I think he was maybe a second year guy, first second year guy.
Keyshawn Williams,
Yeah, yeah, Keyshawn Williams. He might be somebody that they may have already done. You know, who knows? Until we get to training camp, OTAs, and see what that guy can do. But swing tackle, man, I think they got to do something. But it's all about how they see Cody. If they see him as that swing tackle, then you're like, crap.
He's not it.
You know, then he's not it. He's awful. Like he gets beat like a drum, dude, and he's
Quick.
Yeah, he's not strong enough. He's got his arms are too short.
Movement, lateral movement.
He's not that. He's fine at guard for a backup guard. I'm in all the way, but please get a swing tackle in there because hey, we've been lucky. I mean, Orlando played through some stuff. You know, Mims played through some stuff. Yep. You know, if they get hurt, they're screwed. They don't have anybody.
Yep, and they've got P. Ryan signed through this year. I didn't know if they'd look at somebody else. Maybe they've got to have
He's
a bigger.
Not signed through this year, is he? He only signed a 1 year deal.
I think it's a 2-year deal.
Was it a 2-year deal?
So, yeah, they got to have somebody offset Chase Brown because he's not real good at goal line, right? I mean, he's going to get touchdowns from the short yardage. P. Ryan's outstanding. You got Orlando Brown, Fairchild, Karras. If they bring back Risner, I think hopefully they do, and Mims. That's not bad. They played really well this year. Rivers as a backup, I like. They still got Matt Lee, right, center, who they like. I think they're good with everywhere, but right there at tackle. So interesting note there, you mentioned slot receivers. So I did a lot of homework on Yoshi. I think I talked to you about it. Like evaluated, I think it was 3 to 5 games. I think it was 5 games on Yoshi. And as I go over, his route running is awful. And he's not a slot receiver. No. And that's where he's at the vast majority of the time, right? I mean, Jamar comes in there, but Jamar's your number one guy. Yoshi he's a good blocker. But, I've said it for years, guy kind of steal my thunder there, but Calvin Austin, who's a free agent out of Pittsburgh, you need somebody, those little guys that are in and out of breaks on those short yardage. Right now, we dog Zach about it, and I think part of it's definitely true, but the bigger part of it is, I don't know personnel-wise they got it. Right now, their offense is, hey, let's drop back. We'll run it with Chase sometime. T, you go be T, and Jamar, you go be Jamar. Some teams can take them both away. Mm-hmm. Scheme is though. When they do, it's not good, man. Yeah. The Browns do it every time.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know why. Part of it's Myles Garrett. And everybody say it's always Myles Garrett, but it's not just him, right? They'll put Ward over there.
Ward does a hell of a job.
And some of their backups, even Campbell and a guy I like, I'll talk about later, that's not with them anymore. I think it'd be good for the Bengals. But once they take that away, man, it's tough. You don't need an all-star or all-pro guy at slot. But a Calvin Austin, those little guys, and there's some guys in the draft that we'll get to as the draft coverage continues. I think they need that. On defense, a whole lot of needs. You got to get better at defensive tackle. I'm going to save Shamar shortly. There's hope with Murphy now, I think, to a degree. You got to be realistic, though. Realistically, what can he do? Is he a 7-sack guy? Maybe.
Probably. That's what I'm figuring, which is fine.
Yeah, he's not.
It's not fine for where they drafted him, but it is what it is now. Yeah.
He's a number 2 guy at best, right? Mm-hmm. And the question is, defensive tackle, man. They've swung. They're not hitting on it. They got to do something at defensive tackle. I hope it's free agency, and we'll talk about it shortly. Who those guys are. You agree on the defensive line? I would have, the last several years, just got one of those guys that are third down pass rushers that have been out there. There's Dave Smith. There's been a bunch of them. They don't do it.
Who cares how old they are?
They don't have to be a 3-down guy. Mm-hmm. You got to improve the pass rush there, and the defensive tackle position's got to be better. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I agree with you. Murphy is probably that 5 to 8. As long as his pressure rate's up there good way, where he's getting really good pressure, just disturbing. But a lot of these quarterbacks nowadays can, especially on that right side, right? They can see that and they can move around. If they get pushed too deep, they can step up and move their feet, to the right. It's that blind side where Trey would usually be. That's especially where those pressures need to come from. Interior wise, they have swung and missed big time. I mean, you got to give them what credit. I mean, some of the guys I liked, it wasn't like, I was like, okay, those are horrible picks, especially where they picked them. Jackson, whatever. I mean, he was a fourth round. No, actually, he was a third rounder. That was that double up third rounder, wasn't it?
Yep.
So that was probably a little high for him, maybe a round, but
Jenkins was second.
Yeah.
Chris Jenkins second. McKinley Jackson third.
Yeah.
And then Slayton,
Yeah.
BJ Hill's still solid, but they got to improve that dramatically.
Dramatically. I still don't think, and I mean, I can get to it now if you want. I still don't think that's their biggest need, and that's sad because that's how how bad they are on the back end of safety.
Yep. And you look at it like we'll talk about some free agency. I'm trying to separate the two topics and just say what the needs are. Then we'll get into a couple free agents that I like. Linebackers did not play well. I thought Demetrius Knight got better. Barrett Carter, I mean, if you go in with just those two guys and the same backups you have now, I think that's a recipe for disaster.
It is.
So, granted, the defensive line's got to play better, and that makes your linebackers look a little bit better. But I don't think that's going to be enough to help Barrett Carter. Mm-hmm. So, if he's a true middle linebacker, now you only go, weak side or, pass coverage linebacker and then a middle linebacker and Carter. And they're just not good enough. And you look at the secondary, I can't imagine King Taylor Britt will be back. I think he's gone. Geno Stone's gone.
Gone.
DJ Turner had a heck of a year. Dax is solid. Jalen Davis, he's a little older. He doesn't fit their model in terms of age, but I thought he played really well. So depth-wise, Tyson Anderson, Fig Newton really hasn't shown up. Deshaun Anthony was hurt last year. PJ Jules made some plays there. But honestly, you need another. The problem is the needs are plenty. That's why you got to hit free agency. I think you need two safeties. Everybody else says one.
Nope, two.
I think you need a backup linebacker that's a veteran. I wouldn't go there draft wise. Mm-hmm. Bring in a guy to push for minutes, push for snaps with Carter, and I think you need another corner. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they need a linebacker that can for what they do. He likes to put that linebacker on the line, right? Well, he kept putting Demetrius on the line. Well, he can't take on those tight ends, and he can't take on those tackles to set the edge. Is what that outside weak linebacker is supposed to do. He can't do it. He's not strong enough. Now, if he gets stronger, he can't shed blocks very good. They need a guy a veteran guy that is used to being on the line in that 4-3 scheme, because there's times he puts three linebackers, which is rare, out there against nickel coverage. And he wants to be able to stop the run, but still be able to cover with these linebackers. Dude, they got smoked and smoked and smoked. In the run game, offensively, it was just bad. They got to get a guy, and that comes with it too. Like being able to set that edge and clog it up so the other linebackers can get over. And when you're not doing that, when you're just getting manhandled and you're letting them get to the edge, and then you got bad angles, right? Because they're getting so far out, you're coming from an inside position. It's hard to get angles coming from the middle of the field to that edge. And it's because it's being set by the offensive line. It shouldn't be. It should be being set by whoever is on that edge, and it's not happening, right? Mm-hmm. You can't play a 3-4 because they don't have they don't have the linebackers to do it. Yeah. Then you're playing out of position, right? Then you got defensive ends playing linebacker. Lou would do that a lot. That's why you've seen guys dropping out, Osai and all that. Well, that's a 3-4 scheme. Those guys are actually playing linebacker.
Osai played linebacker a lot.
You know what I mean? And that just makes it so hard. These guys are playing out of position, and you just can't do it. So safety wise, man, I'm telling you, I think that's the biggest need, and it all goes back to what they've had in the past and what we've seen with good or special safeties And then now you go with what they have, where they just don't have the protection. You know, they work hand in hand. If you've got good protection and quarterbacks, you know, a lot of times they know their first read right, and then when they go to the second read, sometimes they might be a little hesitant. Well, if you've already got that pass rush and you make them go to that second, third read, then it lets that rush get to them, and that's just not happening because that first and second read are so quick.
Yep.
Because guys are freaking wide open.
Yep.
Not like tight coverage. Oh, what a good throw!
They're college open.
No, college open. You know, at Chicago. Okay, wide open down the seam, and then you miss a tackle, and then it's a touchdown, right? So
and there's some effort issues there.
Yeah,
they can say what they want. They can get mad whoever they want.
Shoulder tackles by your safeties. Give me a break, man. That's got to change, and I think it changes with personnel. I really do.
I think it's
just change the guys, go out and get some free agents, and hopefully Downs is there. And we can bring a young guy in.
Come on, man! You're jumping segments again. You always jump segments, dude. You're jumping segments.
It is what it is.
I think you know when you grade a player, part of it's the mental instincts of it. You know, it's reading. It's one thing, but you got to react too. They're late on reads and they're late on reacting. So then you do have bad angles. And you know, I was harsh on Golden. Who wasn't? But I think as the year went on, honestly, he was way more aggressive. And part of that was Jalen Davis. Like, honestly, you look at it, go back and watch the tape. He started putting trust in him in the slot, so he started hammering people in there. And even when they got early pressure, which they did a lot more, part of it's the competition. I get that. But a lot of early pressure, then the dump down to the back, and there's just no one there. And there's no way he's coaching it that way. We can hammer Golden all we want, as we should probably early. He's not coaching it that way. They're just out of position, the linebackers, right, and the safeties. And they were out of position in big games and big moments that could have saved a season. Just candy from a baby, right?
Yep.
I do think they played better. And again, there's competition there. But I think what helped Murphy, a lot of it was obviously more snaps and Osai. But a lot of us, they were bringing heat and they were disguising blitzes. So the offensive line was confused, right? And you see that early in the year, you know, who you blocking? Oh, you're blocking. There's the mic.
Yeah.
There's no need to change your protections. The quarterback knew exactly where he was going because he was so bland early on. Bland without talent's not good. Some teams can be a little bit bland because they can get pressure up front, right? You know, they're not going to bring his side back, but I think I would. If you can get him at a decent price, right, he's going to be gone. But he's not elite by any means, but I thought he played a lot better. So, yeah, we got a lot of – I'll go over – I made a list of just 10 or 11 free agents that we can talk about. And I'll start on the back end because that's where you want, and I agree. The tough part here is you think about who you want. Let's say it's Downs, which we both do. He may not be there. I got some guys for you, though. But let's say he's not there, but you can't rely on everything that you're going to get in the draft. That's when you start picking by position. Best player available, and we're going to talk about that here shortly. But Jaquan Brisker, who we saw with the Bears. Reed Blankenship from the Eagles. I like Brisker a little bit better. I think Blankenship's probably better overall. Kobe Bryant, did you see him laying the lumber for Seattle?
Yep.
You see?
Yep. And a lot of people don't even know he moved from corner to safety, and he's good.
Very good. So, you know, those three safeties right there, I think if you bring in one of those guys and see what you've got, right?
Yeah.
I would probably lean to Kobe Bryant given his age. Brisker's an animal. He's got some tread on the tires, man, because he brings the boom, right? Brings the boom. So that's a good position to start. And I'll give you, Alontae Taylor's going to get big money, probably a corner from New Orleans. I don't think they'll franchise him. I just don't think you can pay that kind of money for him. But he would be a big upgrade. Alontae Taylor would. But here's the one, and he gets dogged all the time at corner. Greg Newsome got traded from the Browns to Jacksonville, right? Campbell. So I reviewed, I'll get to Devin Lloyd in a second. I had to study Devin Lloyd for like 4 games, 5 games, same type principle. So I'm watching Devin Lloyd, good player, and I'll talk about him shortly. But as I'm watching him, I'm watching Greg Newsome over and over. Granted, Jacksonville had a good defense, right? He's making plays, dude. Remember how he played against the Bengals? Mm-hmm. You could get him on the cheap as your second corner. I'd take him over Cam Taylor-Britt today. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Blankenship for safety, and Newsome would be an upgrade. I just don't think you can put any more resources at corner. I think you got to roll what you got at corner.
I can get him pretty cheap though.
I mean, if you can get him cheap, but I don't know. I mean,
His name's not that good, right?
no, I mean the film's there though.
Yep.
We'll see how most teams seem in NFL. But I mean, I'm with you. I mean,
gritty.
he was part of the reason Jacksonville had a good defense.
He
You
played
know what I
really
mean?
well.
So
Played really well.
I just I would almost roll unless you can get somebody cheap with what they got there and just put your resources at safety. But man, I really like Blankenship. He is an all around safety.
More
You
so
know what
than
I
the
mean?
other guys I
Yeah,
named.
you know what I mean. He's. I mean, I can't say he's not a thumper because he is a thumper. That's part of his game. But I think if you had him, you could say, "This is what I want you to do," and he could excel at
He's
it.
a
Right?
leader.
You see what I'm saying?
Physical.
Yeah, that's another thing. Good locker room guy, leader. That man, they've got to upgrade at safety in free agency, and then best player available in the draft.
You get a guy like Brisker too, talking about leadership. That dude's a fiery guy. He was in college at Penn State. You watch him in the Bears playoff games and everything else. That dude, he brings it, and he's yelling at his teammates. Like,
Yeah.
I'd take Brisker. I'm not saying I wouldn't. He's taking a beating, but he brings it. And I think Kobe Bryant would be. I think any of those three, you bring them in, and Newsome, I agree, the safety position would take priority over this. So I got a couple other guys for you here. Devin Lloyd, who I talked about. I watched this again. We've talked about him a little bit. Did he play so much better because of the scheme? Probably so. The coaching staff, the talent around him, contract year. You got to think of all that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big time player, right? And so is Quay Walker from Green Bay. Here's the challenge: they're not going to franchise him. I don't know if you've paid attention to this. So franchise numbers, I was going to go over them, but I don't know. You can look it up. They're out there. What the tag price is. The problem with the linebacker position, the reason Jacksonville can't franchise him, the NFL does so many stupid things. The outside linebackers, like a Parsons and all those guys, get labeled into that. He's not a linebacker. So the linebacker position franchise tags more than a defensive end. Think about that. It's not worth the same, right? And the reason is because those pass rushers are getting lumped in. So Jacksonville, there's no way they're paying Devin Lloyd what he's supposed to get. Or Quay Walker, he's not going to get that either out there as a franchise number, but they're going to get big money. And there's no way, I'll say this right now, there's no way Duke Tobin, this is an insult, there's no way Duke Tobin in that front office drafting the two guys they drafted are going to go out and pay big money to Lloyd or Walker. We can wish for it. They're not going to eat the crow on that. And it would help their team dramatically. And there's going to be a lot of cap space, and they can create more cap space by something. They can get them under cap for sure. They're not signing those linebackers. You agree? And I think they'd be big time upgrades. Big time, either one of them.
Yeah, they'd be, man,
Massive.
massive upgrade. But I think they'll go that secondary, third, like
Like they did with Burks.
like a $6 to $8 million lineman, somebody that's a leader and who's been in the league a little
I don't even know
while.
if they'll sign a linebacker, honestly. They may not.
They may not, but
don't think they will.
what they should do, we didn't say what they should do, but if they do it, that's what they'll do.
Yep. And, I don't think Taylor's not going to be in their price range. I think the safeties could be. And then I want to throw two defensive tackles out. Draymond Jones, who we saw with Baltimore, hit Burrow several times late, I would argue, from the Ohio State University. He's out there, and you're going to hear a lot of people talk about John Franklin Myers, who does not fit their profile in terms of age. The problem is, I heard somebody say this. It might have been Bruce Murray or Rand Carthon, who actually, he was really good on there the other day. Carthon was former GM. He was really good. Problem is when you get 31 other teams competing for those guys,
And all teams want it.
and Myers is going to they're not going to get him, I don't think. They could. But Draymond Jones would be a nice signing, kind of under the radar. I would take him. But I think they need to do something, a defensive tackle. Unfortunately, I don't think they will either. I just don't think they're smart enough to. If you really want to win this year, you go get one of those defensive tackles and one of those safeties, and then you go into the draft. Think about it. If you sign one of the three safeties I mentioned, you sign Franklin Myers, a defensive tackle, you're pretty free in the draft now. I don't think they do it. You agree with my thoughts on that?
I do. What they should do is not worry about how freaking old they are. If they want to win now, it doesn't matter.
That's what New England did, man.
It doesn't matter how old, because you're going to win now. We're not talking 4 years from now.
Yep.
We want to win now. The time is now. Joe's going to be 30 years old. You know, Jamar's getting older. You know, T's getting old. These guys, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the receivers starting to decline, and they're not there yet. They'll be fine the next couple of years, but you got to win now, because a lot of times when that wall hits, it hits. You know, that's why, I mean, honestly, if I'm Joe, if I'm Jamar and I'm T, I'm all three of them going to them saying, okay, let's restructure. Let's, instead of being 41 million or whatever they are, why don't you look that up, because it went up. They was like 36 or 38 is what they had.
What's that?
And the cap.
Oh, it's more than that. I got it right here. Yeah. So the other side of that is, I'll chime in with something on the same topic. The cap is, the Bengals have effective cap space of 46 million, and they're fifth or sixth in the league. But to your point, like, some of you may not get the reference. If you don't, that's okay. I'll explain a little bit. So my favorite hockey player is Connor McDavid, right? I think he's the best player in the world. I don't think it. I know he's the best player in the world. He's been to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. They can't win it. He's up for a contract, and everybody's doing the same thing they always do. He's going to leave. He's going to leave. He signs a 2-year extension past this upcoming year, and he does it at the same exact contract. He would have made more than anybody in the NHL, hands down. Mm-hmm. He gives him 2 years, and they don't fix it this time. He's gone. I do think that. Fix what's around me. I'm not going to eat up all the cap space and then complain we don't have a good enough team, right? That's what they should have done. That's what they should do now, to your point. You want to win, you can make money in endorsements or whatever else. Like, how much do you need? Right. I heard Todd Haley, who I like Todd Haley, say, well, you know, they want that security. You could get $28 million for 1 year. You want that security you could get for 3 years at $30 million a year. I was like, dude, come on, man. Quit. They need to take that jargon out of the conversation. I need to feed my family. I need security. If you make one deal, one contract, and it's 1 year for $28 million, and your great grandkids can't live on that, you're stupid.
Yeah.
You want more money, that's fine. But don't frame it like, oh, I need security. I need to feed my family. Bottom line is, Joe, Chase, T, you want to win, take less.
Yep. And then use that money, you know, get over that 46 million, you know, get it up around 60, 65. You're at what, top 1 or 2. Then you can go out there and just and do whatever you want. Pay these guys money. I mean, make us feel like you're wanting to win now, because it never feels like it always feels like they want to win 4 years from now.
Yep, and
then if that doesn't work, because if it doesn't work, then you're screwed. Yep. You're screwed for the next 3 or 4 years.
You're wasting careers. Like, again, I've said this multiple times on this show and before this show, before we ever did a podcast. Like, they're trying to tap through the door. You heard me say it multiple times to you, boy. They're trying to tap through the door, and they're so worried that they hurt themselves 4 years from now that they don't go for it, right? Like the perfect example is the Rams. They're in it. They're in the hunt still. Gave up draft picks every year for like 7 years until now, and they've got a ring on their finger and almost won another one, and now they got 2 draft picks, right? So that's not kicking the can down the road. Was the Reds' philosophy, right? They would trade guys to get all these draft picks, and if you're the GM, you can constantly say, "Well, look at our farm system. Well, look at our farms." I don't care if you have the best farm system in the history of the world. If you don't win, you don't win, right? The bottom line is championships. And, you know, leading the league in salary cap, and the Chiefs are like 50-some million over or something ridiculous like that. You know what's going to happen? They'll restructure them all. They'll add players, and they'll be right in the hunt again next year, right? Yeah. That's how you do it. Like, if you have a down year, I mean, they're having down years now, right? The Rams didn't really have, they had 1 year out of the playoffs. Now look at them, right?
And they were still competitive.
Oh, yeah, good team. So I agree with you. Let's go. Let's get this thing going, and they don't try to do it. A couple other guys here. So mentioned on defense, another guy, why I mentioned P. Ryan earlier is Tyler Algiers out there. You add him to this team, maybe let P. Ryan walk. You got your goal line runner, and you got a guy that can get 10 or 12 carries a game and load it up, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know about Chase in some situations. I like Chase Brown, don't get me wrong. Talk about the draft or whatever, but you watch Kenneth Walker run, and they slowed it down on how many times. if he ran like Chase Brown does sometimes, you'd say, well, the offensive line's not blocking well enough. He gives them a chance to block.
Yep.
And he's the extreme, right? Because he is slow to hold, but he sets up the block. That used to be the fine art of the running back. Was look at Peyton on them. They'd set up the block and they just make a little move, and boom, they're gone, right? Most running backs, not a knock on Chase Brown, almost all of them don't have the real. They're just kind of athletes playing the position. You follow me? They're not really good at running and setting up blocks. That dude's a beast, but he's going to go somewhere big. But I'd like an Algier type on this team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I just don't want to pay a lot for it. I mean,
I don't think you will. I just can't imagine there's that. The running back position's coming back, right?
For sure.
Because of last year and this year, Walker, he's going to make big. That makes it interesting with Love. I think he'll go to the top 10, which we'll talk about. And another guy, we talked about him earlier, is Calvin Austin, right? I'd sign a slot guy if you can get him cheap.
Me too. And honestly, I would rather him sign a veteran slot guy, a guy who already knows all the ins and outs, and him and Joe can get on the same page early. That way, a rookie's not coming in as week 8 or 10 before he gets comfortable. Get a veteran in there that's been in multiple systems, or maybe even kind of familiar with a system that you already run. That's what they need at slot. Because even Gesicki, when he's in the slot, he's not that guy. He's a seam guy, right? He's a post guy in the slot.
Quick. He's not going to win quick.
Austin
will win quick.
Yeah, I mean, he's got good hands. He's a big target. I get all that, but he's still not. I mean, if it was me, and I've probably thought this when I've said it, I would like to see him not go empty. I hate empty because of protection issues. But I would go 4 wide more, because then you've got 2 slots, right? Then you could put a guy like Austin in one side and put a Gesicki, who's a seam guy, a post guy. Then you got them 2 guys on the outside, and you still have a running back there. I would rather see him do something like that with Joe Burrow than do this 12 and 13 personnel, to be honest.
Well, and I heard, I'm stealing this from somebody, but I talked to, and I'm going to talk something about former scout and some other folks I've talked to. But you look at the league, and I think it was Hoyer was talking about it. Brian Hoyer did a hell of a job on the radio the other day. That's the first time I've heard him on Sirius XM, like, hell of a job. I'm quick to bang on some of the guys that are horrible, which is all of ESPN. But these guys, they're bringing some guys, Sirius XM has had their issues where you and I talked about it. I could only listen to Jim and Pat and the 2 guys, Lekus and whatever his name is, right before the game, right, that are going around. Those guys, they're outstanding. But the most of them are just goofy shows like you hear on ESPN. Solomon does a pretty good job, and he's brought on, Hoyer's been on there. Todd Haley does a good job on there. And they're talking about Kubiak, and I can't give credit because I don't remember who said it. Kubiak and those type of coordinators now. I think he's going to do a great job. What they do is they scheme guys open because they use the running game. There's not a whole lot of empty. You have a hard time seeing what they're doing. They bring in multiple tight ends, but they play action off of it, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, as we talked about, it's Burrow go win everything. I just don't think that's the path. He takes too many hits, too many. There's just you can't scheme. And the problem is they bog down, those 3rd and 5, or if they have to go for a 4th and 3, because they're not scheming guys open, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's on Zach. But you get that running game going. You get a slot guy like Austin. So I'm 2 games into his evaluation right now. He's a free agent. There's a couple other guys. Looking at Wayne Dan Robinson, too. I'll be scouting him over the weekend, going through his tape. More enthused about Austin, but, don't have a really opinion on Robinson yet. But Austin will get in there and block. He's a little guy. And you hear about different offenses. It was different with Arthur Smith. But the vast majority of the schemes in the NFL are some sort of variation of West Coast, including the Bengals. It's a West Coast offense, heavy, shotgun, right? It's all the same. They're not – the few coordinators that are doing it different, McVay, Shanahan, and Kubiak, it's all West Coast, but they have their flavor off of it. It's heavy running game, right? Mm-hmm. The Bengals are running, but without a heavy running game off of it. So there's a few guys. And I'll make a comment about Shamar. So jumping back to the Bengals, we'll get deeper into free agency. So, again, a former scout, I'm not using his name, I don't think he'd really care, but he said he was the president of the Shamar. He got asked a question. He said, I'm the president of the Shamar Stewart fan club. So I waited a while and got my hand in and said, well, if you're the president, I'm the vice president. And he made some interesting comments. And I think he's okay for me sharing this. I guess I'll find out. But he talked about him, Abdul Carter, and Michael Williams, who went to the Niners, right? So those 3 grouped together. You and I liked Probably would have went Abdul. I would have probably, but I like Shamar where they got him. So you think about that. He said all three of them didn't really know what they were doing in college. That's a big statement, right? And he's right. Look at him.
Sure.
Shamar's not enough tape to really fairly evaluate, but I think you just saw how he played in college. He said the potential is there. But even at Penn State, Abdul Carter was just when he faced the big time tackles in the Big Ten Conference, he didn't do much, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the majority of the time you watch players, and you go to the smaller schools even more so. They're not playing against NFL guys, right? Even like Ruben Bainer, we're going to talk about. The best playing against high level competition. It's rare they're facing tackles that are going to start in the NFL, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jumping in the NFL, it's a real man's game, right? It's tricky, but he likes Shamar's potential, as do I. So you're not hearing a lot about him right now. I think he's going to be a star at some point. But it's got to help fairly soon, right? That's when you're drafting these guys on traits and you're trying to win a championship now. That's a kick a window. You know, we like the pick, but it's down the road. So interesting. I want to talk to you a couple real quick, Stevie Boy, if I can find it. Talk about some drafts here that are kind of interesting. So you go back to 2003 draft, and I'll lead you in because you don't have it in front of you. So the 2003 draft was who for the Bengals? Number one pick? Quarterback?
Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer. Good pick. You can't say it wasn't, right? Andre Johnson went third. Terrence Newman was a good pick. And then you go down. Byron Leftwich, 7th. And then Terrell Suggs at 10th. Good pick?
Yeah.
Ew. So Ozzie Newsome in 96, we talked about it a few weeks ago, went Lewis and Ogden the first round, 2 Hall of Famers. Think about this. He had another pick in this round. This proves what happens when you're chasing a position. And Ozzie Newsome was quoted here the other day, is what got it in my head. Take the best player available. If there's any doubt, take the best player available. He didn't. They needed a quarterback. Kyle Bowler. Kyle Bowler at 19. Woo!
Yeah.
That one hurts. 16th, Troy Polamalu went ahead of that. Good pick, right? And he had some interesting tape on him as well. But you think about these guys that are chasing quarterbacks above there, right? Byron Leftwich, okay. But if you redid that draft, you see all these redrafts and they're still using the same players. Polamalu probably going number 1 over Andre Johnson. Wouldn't you? I think they would. And Palmer, right? So the safety position is devalued. That's my point here. As we get into it, we're going to talk about our boy Caleb Downs, right? Pretty good impact there. You go to the 2014 draft, right? You look at it, Jadeveon Clowney. You wouldn't believe you watch the tape. 2 points of this. You watch the tape. You wouldn't believe how they were fawning over this guy. I mean, historic. Best pass rusher I've ever graded, Kuiper said. He's the best guy. He's this. He's that. He hasn't been. 66.5 sacks. So number 5, Khalil Mack. Who would you rather have, Clowney or Mack? It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close.
So Khalil Mack, you look at him and you could say competition, they downgraded it, but I watched him play against Ohio State, and I said, that dude's real. He ate Tyler Decker's lunch the whole game. Justin Gilbert, 8th. And you think about Sammy Watkins. Here's the one I wanted to point out. 4th to Buffalo, and they were all going nuts over it. He's okay. Blake Bortles, 3rd to Jacksonville. This is what – it's not only chasing a position can do for you. It's picking the wrong player at the same position. Odell Beckham, 12th. Odell Beckham versus Sammy Watkins. Woo!
Yeah.
That is rough, my friend. Brandon Cooks went. He was okay. Odell Beckham. There's another guy here. Mike Evans goes 7th. So the Bills took Sammy Watkins over Mike Evans and Odell Beckham Jr. Ouch. Ouch. Defensive tackle is really not worth it. And, I have no way to prove I said this back then. But I thought Aaron Donald was like a star in the making. And I think he reminded me, I think it was Geno Atkins or somebody said, the beefier. So Aaron Donald goes 13th in that draft. So Jadeveon Clowney, Greg Robinson, Blake Bortles, Sammy Watkins, Jake Matthews, Justin Gilbert, Eric Ebron, all ahead of Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
And you go back and watch the tapes, they'll all sing a different song now. You go read Aaron Donald's draft profile. I don't have it in front of me. I meant to pull it up. The guy that was writing for the NFL.com at the time, how they do the draft profiles, had him, it was like a 5th round pick, something ridiculous like that, Aaron Donald, because of size. Mm-hmm. Aaron Donald has 111 career sacks, one of the best defensive tackles of all time, surefire Hall of Famer. You see the point, Stevie boy?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we talk about that. So the point of that is all the hyperbole you're hearing about players now, pro or con, is nonsense. You go back and listen to these guys in their own broadcasts, they were horrible. Another point about the broadcast, and I'll talk about last year and get your thoughts. I watched those broadcasts in the NFL draft. They're up on our YouTube page, by the way, Brotherhood of the Bengal. Check them out. The coverage was so much better. They're in that building, even 10 years ago. There's not all the gimmicks in between picks. They're going straight to the picks. You got 3 football guys. That's it. Not a whole ballyhoo of people talking football. Even though they're wrong, a lot of these guys. It was Gruden, Kuiper, whoever. Boom, straight to the footage. Boom, talking about football. Boom, the next pick. In between picks, talking about they're not out in the crowd. Look at this guy. Oh, let's bring up somebody from Timbuktu that invented a processor. All the garbage you see now. I miss it. Do you, Stevie?
Oh, I do. I do. All the gimmicks in between. The picks are being made, and it's like, 15 minutes and the picks are already made, and it takes forever. And that would have to be hectic for the guys in the room too, right? And they're trying to pick all these things, and they're not being announced.
They know who's picked.
Yeah. It's pain. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I wish it was back where it was 20 years ago.
Yep. Even that's why I wanted to check myself, because it's only 10 years ago or so, 12 years ago. They'd say the pick is in. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, John. The pick is in. Boom, straight to the podium. That's football. But now they're everything about the NFL. They're talking about going to Australia. The Super Bowl is a joke in coverage. Everything's about the sideshow instead of the game, right? Like I said before, I wish the NFL was 50% less popular. It'd be a whole lot better for us. Let's look back at last year. You and I wanted Shamar, and we're not going to backtrack off that. But another guy that I love, and I think you did too if I remember, Nick Eamon-Warry.
Yes.
Is he good? Oh, my gosh.
He's real good.
He went 35. If you're a professional organization trying to win a championship like the Bengals, they'll never do it. What you should have done is did what you can. You value draft picks too much. Is do what you can, trade back in the first round at the end. You could have done it. Take him, Eamon-Warry. You walk out of that draft. If all you walk out of that draft with is those two, I'd trade the second round this year and the third round, who ended up being Fairchild. I'd trade all that for Eamon-Warry right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think one thing that they've got to take less with what they want for the draft. Like they put too much emphasis on it. Like if you want to win now and you done drafted and you're starting all these guys from the last couple of years, then what's these 7 or 8 picks that you're drafting this year going to do? You see what I'm saying? Like if you're high and a lot of them guys in the last couple of years are starting, which I don't think a lot of them should be, but what are you going to do? Are you starting over again? So I'm okay with 3 or 4 picks this year.
Yeah, trade them, get who you want.
Because if you do what you want in free agency, then it doesn't matter. Like you don't need 7 picks. You only need 3 or 4 to build around your team. You don't need 7. That 5th, 6th, and 7th ain't going to make much anyway. So if you can use those to move up a little bit and get the players that are going to make a difference this year and next, that's what you want. That's what you got to do. Stop looking 4 years into the future. It's absurd.
And they're not the only team that does it, but they are by far the most conservative team when it comes to trading up. As an old GM told me one time, he said it's simple, Scott. See great player. If he's not there, if he's not going to be there when you're going to pick, then go get great player, right? And Eamon-Warry's it. It felt strong about it, right? I don't know. They would never do that, but other teams do, right? And the Rams do it. Teams that win do it. I don't need 58 draft picks. And if you're there at 10th, and we're going to talk about as we go through these mock drafts, the other strategy is, to me, it's a 3-horse race. At 10, I want Caleb Downs first. Second, I want Reuben Bain, which we're going to talk about. Third, I want Bailey. If those 3 aren't there, I'm trading down. The problem is I don't know if the demand's going to be there this year, because the prevailing thought right now is, if they're telling the truth, they think you can get somebody in the late 20s that's as good as the guy at 10th. I don't know that I believe that. The quarterback's not driving it. But if you could trade down right there and grab some other picks and then use them to get back up and get 2 guys, first, second round, it's still better than their approach, right? Them loving that 5th-round pick, oh, we got a 5th-round, 6th-round pick, it's not going to pay off. And, if you're taking a guy based on traits like Shamar Stewart, the reality is you have to wait on him, right? He's not ready. I think we all knew that. He's not – I want him to come in on – that's no fault their own. Trey was hurt, but I wanted him to come in. He got hurt. I wanted him to come in on 3rd downs here and there and just rush the passer, right? Not complicated. You don't have to know a lot of assignments. Didn't happen. Some of that was out of their control. But I'm okay with trading down before I am taking something hard because you like it, right? Some guy, well, we'll take this guy, Spencer Fano or whoever else, who I think might be good, and we'll wait on him 2 years. Yeah, 3 years from now it looks good, or 4 years from now it looks good, but you didn't win a championship and Burrow's retired, right, or whatever the case might be. You agree with that?
I do.
Is it a 3-horse race for you?
Yeah, or trade down. And I think we said it a few episodes ago. If that opportunity is there to trade down, and then you can package maybe one of those picks you get with a 4th or 5th to move back up, and then I think that's what you do to get the players you need to win this year.
Yeah, it's got to be about now, and I don't think it ever has been.
No.
I don't think and it goes back to my point after they went to the Super Bowl. So my concern then is, going into 2022 was I don't think anybody in that office knows how to run a team that's got championship aspirations, right? They don't. They're playing it along like they're a 4-win team, which kind of they are now. But on to that, it's kind of one of those things, and it's hard to get out of that. So Reuben Bain conversation, then we'll do some mock drafts. So Reuben Bain, his arm's too short. So from what I heard from talking to some people here recently is it's no joke. That's what scouts are saying, and that's what they believe. So he might actually drop. You never know, a guy like Harbaugh, does he put that much stock in it, or somebody else?
Right.
Because it only takes one. The prevailing thought might be of 90% of the scouts, his arms are too short. Well, if one of those 10% is in the top 10, that's all it takes, right? You're never going to know. He might go 5th and say, see, they didn't believe all that. They might. It's just that one team didn't believe, right? Saleh with Tennessee, Harbaugh with the Giants. But I did the player comp, and I said somebody didn't get a reaction on it. But it's my player comp to Suggs. That's why I brought that up. You look at their measurement; it's almost identical.
Yeah.
Bain's production is not as high, but Bain's playing for Miami in big games. Suggs is at Arizona State, I think, right? So if he's Terrell Suggs, you take it, and you be happy.
Yeah, you take
it. And he might be limited here and there, but if Bain's there, I'm jumping all over it. So you ready for some mocks?
Let's do it.
So Joe Klatz, I'll not go through it all because it was on YouTube. He's got the Bengals, sliding to the Bengals, David Bailey, edge rusher, Texas Tech. We go through Field Yates. I'm hit and miss on Field. He's all right, I guess. I'll go through Fields real quick. Mendoza seems to be in Reese. Everybody's going 1-2 there. I don't know about Reese, right? I think that's a projection as well. Maya Noah to Arizona, Bailey to Tennessee, Caleb Downs to the Giants. You can see that. Fano to Browns, Carnell Tate to Washington, Jordan Tyson to New Orleans, Jeremiah Love. I don't want Love to go to Kansas City, honestly. I really don't. I think that's and then Reuben Bain, one of the few you see it to the Bengals. I'd be happy as a lark, but I don't like Love going there to Kansas City. You go to Rob Rang, who's been doing that forever in the magazines. If you remember Rob, he has got Reuben Bain going 8 to the Saints. Caleb Downs going to the Kansas City Chiefs, and David Bailey. So he's got our 3 horses going 8, 9, and 10. Garrett Podell, I don't know this guy. He's right for CBS. I'd never heard of this dude until I did it. Same old, pretty much at the top. Reese and them, I know Bailey, Carnell Tate. Everybody's in love with him in the top 10. Sonny Styles to Washington, Reuben Bain to the Saints, Jeremiah Love again to Kansas City, Caleb Downs to your Cincinnati Bengals.
So we definitely want Styles to be up there, right?
Oh, I agree.
Like we want him to be in that top 9 for sure.
Dan Parr from NFL.com has got Downs going all the way to 6 to the Browns. That would suck. Love to the Commanders. Carnell Tate to the Saints. Reuben Bain to Kansas City. And Ione, the offensive guard from Penn State. I just can't see him doing that. I just can't see that. I cannot see that happening. So there you got it. That's the hodgepodge of it. So it's kind of interesting to see it. But so if you take Downs, Caleb Downs in the first round, obviously you're not taking the safety in the second round. I'll give you a couple guys I liked here. So I did my homework a little bit on some draft stuff. Stevie Boy, Stevie boy, you got some rushers like the big guy Zion from Missouri would be a nice pairing if you take Downs first. Say you don't get Caleb Downs. I would take Ruben Bain. The arms do not concern me. And I got to be honest with you, the more I've watched of it, Downs is my top. But if it's Ruben Bain and David Bailey both on the board, and they might be, I think I'm taking Bain, dude. Your thoughts? I think I'm taking Bain.
I think I do. I think I do as well. I think it's close. I mean, because they can probably get a safety later on, but they're not going to get a Caleb Downs. But you're definitely not going to get a Bain down there. You see what I'm saying? It's tough. That's why I'm like, last year there was a couple players. This year there's 3 players. I mean, there are 3 players that are like right there. I mean, I want Downs more than any of them, but then I'll probably want, and me, it's probably Downs, Baines, and then Bailey.
Yep.
Those are the 3 guys. And honestly, if Styles is there, I wouldn't be mad, but I'm more of, if those 3 guys are gone, trade down, take those picks, load them up with someone on those 7, 6, 5. Throw them in, move back up to the top of the second round, instead of being the 10th, 11th pick in the second, get all the way up to the beginning or the very end of the first round. You might be able to do that. I think that's what I do, but we'll see. I don't know if they'll do things different and change it up this year or not. I don't know. If they want to keep us fan bases there, because I'll tell you right now, I'll bring this up real quick. Kind of goes along with how they do business. I know of 3 season ticket holders that passed this year.
Really?
Yeah. And I went on the cruise with one of them. He sat in the end zone, not far from us.
Sit in the end zone on the cruise or in the stadium?
On the stadium. So, I mean, there's a lot of people, and I bet there's hundreds of thousands that said no. But guess what? There was also a waiting list, right? So those people who have been waiting that hasn't experienced it, they're probably going to
Probably so.
Yeah, probably sell right into it. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, they need to change some things up, and I think that's the start.
Yeah, you look at it. So let's say they get Ruben Bain. That's who I would take. You can imagine the Bain shirts. I was born in darkness. Off Batman, that'd be great. Bailey's close though. I'd be happy at the end of the 3. I'd say I want Caleb Downs. I think he's the elite guy of the 3. I think there's questions with Bain, arm length. There's questions with Bailey's size, weight wise. Can he bulk up? Can he be a 3-down player? Right, big time concern. Bain, I think you just throw him on the field, let him go. I think he'd be good enough. Is he a Myles Garrett? I don't think he is. Mm-hmm. But you're not picking first, right? I don't think that guy's in this draft. So let's say you can't get Downs and you get one of those 2 guys, hopefully. Here's the guy I like. And I've seen people, Steve Boy, I was all over this guy, and then he got mocked to the Bengals in the 3rd round. Surprisingly, guys are doing longer draft. I would not take this guy in the 3rd round, Stevie Boy. I'm taking this guy in the 2nd round if you don't get a safety. A.J. Housey from LSU. You may not be familiar with him yet. Do your homework. This dude's a beast. Any safety rankings you look at, he's not going to be up there. He is for me, my friends. I would take him in a 2nd. I like Thomas from Miami and Ramsey from USC as well. But A.J. Housey is a beast, old school safety, thick lower body. He lowers the boom, Stevie Boy. This dude can hammer. He plays hard. He's everywhere. You walk out of this draft with only these 2 players, Stevie. Ruben Bain, A.J. Housey, and you trade the rest of your picks. I'm throwing a party. Give away shirts. We'll do whatever. That's how good I feel. That's how strong I feel about both of those players. That would be awesome, Stevie Boy.
It definitely would be awesome.
You look this dude up later, A.J. House, H-A-U-L-C-Y. Big time. All right, a couple sleepers, Stevie Boy, and we'll get into some rumors and important dates, and we'll get out of here. Sleepers for me, some of these guys you're going to be familiar with. Some are bigger names than others just from where they played. Joe Royer, tight end from UC. I'd take him in a 2nd. He's way down there. Later round pick, Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker from Texas Tech. I love the guy. I don't care about his measurables. I care about how he plays. Aiden Fisher, linebacker, Indiana University. D'Angelo Pons, everybody knows him. I I don't know about him. His size is a question mark, certainly, but he's a competitor. Not for the Bengals. Drew Aller, Penn State. I think somebody's going to get a steal for him. For the Bengals, remember this name? Hezekiah Massis, a cornerback from California. To my knowledge, he's not really on anybody's radar right now, Stevie Boy, but I like him. So write them down. Learn Stevie Boy. A.J. Housey, Hezekiah Massis. I love him. You like Rodriguez from Texas? You watched him play?
I watched him play a little bit because I bet on him. He's good. Yeah, I still got I'm not in that dig in point yet. We still got a ways.
I'm all in, Stevie. I've been spending time on it.
Yeah.
I think Rory went
I'll
to
get
Ohio
there.
State. Rory went to Ohio State. What do you see, right? Had some flashes, but I think he's got a shot at being a player, right? Not because he's a hometown kid. All right, let's talk about an important NFL date, Stevie Boy. It's coming, man. It's coming. Franchise tag numbers are out. You can franchise players starting this week. Before we talk about the important dates, the franchise player can start franchising players this week, as I say it over and over. To Trey or not to Trey, Stevie Boy? Would you and will they? Trey Hendrickson.
100% tag and trade. You got to get something for him. You put too much time and too much resources in him over the last 6-7 years. I say you tag him. You find someone who wants him, and you get what I don't care what it is. If it's a third, get a third. I mean, it's better than nothing. But you don't tag him and keep him. You do not do that.
It's dangerous because can you find a trade partner?
Right. I think they can. I mean, he's the number one free agent out there. So you'll have the rights to him, and I think you'll be able to find somebody that would pay to get him. I really do.
And if you tag him, you don't trade him. There are worse things.
There
Get
are
him for
worse
another
things.
year.
Yeah.
I think I'd be perfectly happy with that. He can grumble. He can complain about it. His agents can whine. But I think I agree with you.
Here's the thing: if Joe and Jamar and those guys and here's the thing, they keep saying, well, Joe can restructure. Well, really, like I said earlier, all three of these guys can restructure. I mean, they're 30 or 40% of the cap. You go ahead and have them guys. Then, if you tag Trey and you're at that $60 million mark, then you got $30 million. I mean, you already got your defensive end. You didn't even have to do nothing. I mean, he's right there. So, I mean, now if he's 30 million and actually it's a 36 and a half, I think is the cap hit. So, which sucks because he gets paid like 31 or 32, but the cap hit's like 36.
They got to do the upgrade.
You know what I mean? So then you got 20 million. You start getting to where, and they like keeping 8 or 10 million back. So that gives you about 10 to 12 million dollars, and that just isn't enough for what this team needs.
Yep. I think I would tag him. I don't think they will. I think he just walks. I think that's what they're going to do. But I would.
They won't get a comp pick for him.
No.
But because it all depends on how many free agents you sign. So if you let 2 or 3 go and you sign 2 or 3, you don't get a comp pick.
You know what I think about comp picks? I think it's the dumbest thing.
It is, but it's part of it. So I mean, we you know,
comping teams for letting guys go or comping teams for losing a quote unquote minority. It's the dumbest thing ever. Just get rid of comp picks. Mm-hmm. So February 17th, you can start franchising players, and you get till March 3rd. So you got some time there. You know, really, it's franchise or not on him. There's no really other options on this team. March 3rd is the deadline, and then Stevie Boy, the illegal tampering period starts on March 9th. Illegal
and
tampering
it's
period.
like right there, dude.
It's a few weeks. So
I mean, it's
11th
crazy. Super Bowl was last week.
Yeah. The 11th is the start of the new football year. The 2026 season officially starts on March 9th. So that's a big day for them, man. The 2 days before that and that day, you'll hear most of the signs are just not official. The 2 days prior when the legal tampering starts. Hopefully they're active on some of the guys we mentioned. We will see the franchise thing's going to get a lot of heat, right, with Trey. It's going to get big-time coverage. Like you said, I do think he's the best free agent.
And I do think we're going to work something up for I think it would probably be better for the tampering period. We'll maybe come live. We're still working through the details on what we'll do. Hopefully the weather's nice enough we can be outside. I think that would be a pretty good show.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see how work goes. 'Cause I think it starts pretty early. But I mean that might be a thing where I say hell with it. I take a day and
Take a half day, starts at noon typically. Thing is, that first day you don't hear a whole lot.
sometimes you do though.
Yeah, you never know. It's fun for me, it's fun to have everything on and follow all the rumors. I don't know if everyone else feels that way. Maybe
I do.
I don't like
love
drama
it.
in real life, but I do like drama in that life.
Yeah.
Where you're hearing, oh, they're talking to every team, right? So, and I think, teams like the Raiders, I think the Raiders are interesting with Kubiak and, I think teams are going to try to get up to get Mendoza too, right? Everybody, I think it is I don't think it's a done deal. I think it will be, but I bet teams try to trade for him, right? To say, like, you're the Jets or whoever, and we're going to wait till next year to get a quarterback. They may say that now, but that's not how it usually works, right? And if they believe in Mendoza, they're going to try to trade up for him. Understand? So Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins will get cut. This is going to be a busy offseason outside of the Bengals, and hopefully with the Bengals, right, what goes on there. So final thoughts here. We got time changes happening. Reds are in camp. Warmer weather. We're getting there, folks. Time change like 2 weeks. Changes everything. But the rumors will not stop, Stevie Boy. Hunter Green with the Reds. Reds are in camp, which is great. But the Hunter Green rumors are still circulating. I saw a baseball magazine had them picked like 4th in division. Damn. I don't see that. I don't see that. I think this pitching staff's going to be good enough, but Hunter Green rumors.
Some of them rankings come out before they got Suarez. I think Suarez is going to make a huge
you
difference
too.
in the middle of that lineup.
I hope so. He should hit 35, 40 homers, I would think.
Which is, my God, the most. I mean,
they
they're,
haven't had close to that.
yeah.
And that's
With him and Ellie back to back. Ooh,
Yeah.
left righty.
Oh, and Frank Kona, you can insult his in. We're getting back to football in a second. You can insult his in-game stuff all you want. And sometimes I agree. But the biggest part of being a coach and a manager is handling the clubhouse in baseball, the locker room in football, keeping a team together, playing in the right way, holding players accountable. There's no better than him, right? There's no better than him. I think he got every ounce out of that team last year. I really do. So I think they're better this year. Get healthier, hopefully. The Burrow rumors, Stevie Boy, they will not stop, man. And I think it is clickbait. I don't believe anything to it, but not only is Minnesota mentioned, the Rams have been mentioned, but to my knowledge, Stafford said he's coming back, right?
He is coming back.
If Stafford's coming back, why are you even reporting on that? And then they're saying, maybe not this year, down the road, right? It's the same. It feels like the NBA.
Yeah.
The NBA, they're always talking about some goofball getting traded because he's not happy 3 years from now, right? I just can't. Even if Burrow, and I don't believe it, even if Burrow said he wanted out, they don't have to trade. This is not the NBA. It's not the owners. The players don't run this league, right? Thankfully. No. And the Vikings, they're still they were told no supposedly. And the thing about like some of these sites, and I'll not name them. If you and I are sitting here thinking, you know what, it'd be cool if Minnesota traded for Jordan Love. That would be cool. Maybe Malik Willis would go back to Green Bay. Then you go type it like it's a rumor and what you're hearing around the league. That's what they do. They theorize something in their head, like I just said, tweet it out, a few other people pick it up. Oh, rumor has it there's talk of Jordan Love to the Vikings when there's absolutely zero talk. Wouldn't that be funny if it happened? But I think that's it. Thanks for joining in. We'll have shirts soon, Stevie Boy. We'll promote those. Take us home like you're not on a cruise, pal.
Remember, we're on all of our podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube page, iHeartRadio.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, get us, talk to us.
Put your items on here.
Sure, absolutely.
Cigars, beer,
Please,
anything.
I mean, we're up there. We're at what, 16.5?
Higher now. It's almost 17 now.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, there's a bunch of people that are following us, that watch us. We appreciate every one of you. And thanks for listening to the Brotherhood of the Bengal podcast. Peace out. And remember, all slow traffic, stay to the right.
Yeah.